And within the fundamentalist church, it's very focused on moralism, right? And it's like, don't do these things instead of, this is what you get to do. You know what I mean? And I always found that to be okay up until I became a man.
Right.
And then it's like, all right, what do I do here? You know, and you're not getting any answers to that really from the majority of your churches.
Right. Well, there's no real tradition. I would argue, as a man specifically, you look at Protestantism. Generally speaking, everybody over the age of like 35, the vast majority of the adherents are going to be women. And so
Yeah.
Protestantism, generally speaking, this has also been a big problem with the African American community, which are obviously Protestants. They have their own sort of their own version, but young, black men just don't go to church. And I would argue that why then that's obviously the opposite within Orthodoxy. You can listen to any priest, you can go to any Orthodox church. You're going to see a lot more young men actually go to Orthodoxy. And I think it's because of the traditionalism and the patriarchy, is that men actually thrive in a patriarchy. You were talking about looking for the approval of older men, and then the younger men idolizing you and basically looking for your approval, like you're looking for the people above you. And so men, we sort ourselves out way better than women sort us out in a way.
Right.
And so men who are respected by other men definitely are going to have a higher status in society, and women are going to be more attracted to them because they're already approved by other men.
Yeah.
And so that is a huge part of whatever we do as men, whether you do construction, whether you're a lawyer, whether you are on a sports team, whatever it is. You have to be around men. Men have a different culture amongst men, and so we look at then the society, and Protestantism, generally speaking, has no real patriarchal tradition. Now, it has been an offshoot, and I can understand the historical reasons of the Protestant Reformation, 1517, while they're upset with the Catholics.
Right.
I sympathize. My point is, once they break from the apostolic tradition, now there is no ultimate authority to the church. And so that's why it's been fractured so many
It's
times.
the church of me.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoever's on stage, it's me, baby.
It's exactly
it's Stephen Furtick, baby.
And that's
Joel
why
Osteen.
it's
Give it to me.
Joel Osteen's in the place where the Houston Rockets used to play, because it is entertainment. Christianity now is a form of entertainment, and it has to be an internalized reality, not an entertaining sort of a spectacle. And that's why that sort of commodification and consumerism of religion, I would argue, is feminine. Women are gatherers. They are way more of a consumer than men. And that's why even advertisements themselves, 80% of the ads are directed at women, because women do the majority of the buying, especially in a family. And so women are the consumers, and the commodification and the consumerism of America itself is feminine, because a man produces more than he consumes. That's what makes him a man. And that's why he's not a boy, because boys consume more than they produce. And so the way that we are then productive and providers, and then every man does that, not just to society, but then his own family, is that we produce more than we take.
Yeah.
And so we live in such a feminist society that Protestantism, generally speaking, I think, because the lack of traditionality, it isn't real appealing for young men, and men generally speaking.
That's fascinating, because like what happens is, right, when you're in evangelical church, you see the church making money, and you see the pastor making money, and not informing you on how to make money for your family, to provide for the things that you care about the most, which actually brings you to church.
Right.
So it's like, what are we doing here? It's like the evangelical church is the worst at actually providing for the flock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people find is like, and that's where I was like, well, this is not helping me produce anything. This is not helping me take care of myself financially anymore.
Right. And the lack of guidance, right? Paternal guidance is really the satisfaction you'd get of the approval of the older men. It's a sort of approval of the direction of which one person is going, as you were talking about. Look what I've done. Look how I've sort of arrived. And so Protestantism, listen to their sermons. Do they have good things? I mean, I share some of the stuff on my stories. Yeah, there's good tidbits, but the tradition, generally speaking, is sort of aimless because it's everybody's interpretation of the Bible and then different translations of the Bible. And so,
and there's definitely a problem.
What is
there's definitely a problem when you can splice together a Stephen Furtick sermon and a Tony Robbins tape, and it sound like it comes from the same person.
Right. Exactly.
That's a problem.
And that's the level they're speaking to. That's not a spiritual reality.
Yeah. And it's funny that, like, it's still vague as fuck. If you listen to Tony Robbins on how to make money, you're at the end of it, you're like, I still don't know how to make money.
Right.
Like, he didn't tell me anything. He's just believe in myself. Yeah, believe in myself, change my state, jump in an ice bath, meditate for this. It's like, and I think that's what happens is, like, when your church becomes that mega church, it's so hard for people to actually take you serious about wanting and caring for your flock's spiritual growth.
Right.
Because everybody's there, like I said, to provide for their family, to make their life better. And there's a spiritual aspect to that, and then there's a financial aspect to that. And for so many years of my life, I would hear pastors, misinterpret the Bible and be like, this is the you will have more in your latter rain, like verses like that. And it's like, I will financially bless you beyond your wildest dreams. And it was like always this financial blessing, this prosperity gospel that permeated throughout most of your sermons. And when when the evangelists would come to town, or tent revival, you'd have tent revival, and that's what they were preaching. Either some type of financial prosperity, or if you look at another woman, you are going straight to hell.
Right.
It's either or. And the more you control the thoughts about women in your head, the more money you'll have, because you will be so close to God that He will just bless you, and it just happens. It's just like, this is magic.
Yeah.
What's going on here? But you don't realize it because you connect so much with the Christian story that you're like, well, I have to listen to my elder, which is the pastor. So it's this convoluted system, and it's like getting out is the most productive thing you can do in a way, because you're not changing it from the inside out.
Well, you can't, and there's no reason to. I mean, that'd be a fruitless battle anyways.
Right, but we do it with our own family. It's not healthy, but we do it, right? It's like a natural tendency. Well, my mom, what about my brother or my sister? I can help them do this or that. And then, 15 years go by and you're like, nothing changed. I should have just focused on myself and my relationship with God. And
well, that absolutely is the only thing that I'm a big stickler on this, and some of the messages I try to advise to people is based on my own self experience. The best thing I can do for the people around me is continue to be the best version of myself, and that includes me praying, me taking care of my body, my fitness, taking care of how I speak to people, how I interact, how I look, just being self-conscious. This isn't about being narcissistic or egotistical. It's about, if I make more money, I can help my mom when she gets sick. I can help more people. I can tithe more to my church. I can help grow orthodoxy. And so if we're not going to be monastics, obviously I'm Orthodox. Your example was Protestant, but we need to focus as men becoming the best versions of ourselves